Now, when you're thinking about the Toyota Prius, you're probably thinking about a car that doesn't really stand out because even though so many of them ply our roads for their great fuel efficiency, it just doesn't look that good. But what if a Prius could look great as well? Today, we're taking a look at the XW60 5th generation Toyota Prius. Is it worth a buy? Let's find out. The good-looking Prius that we're gonna find out more about today is courtesy of Venture Cars. So if you're looking for a new car like this new Prius, do head down to Venture Cars for a look. The Toyota Prius is priced at $166,000. The 1.8-litre 4-cylinder inline engine produces 138 brake horsepower and 142 Nm of torque. The Toyota Prius has an eCVT transmission and a claimed fuel consumption figure of 32.6 km per litre. For more details on the Toyota Prius or any other car, head on to Sgcarmart.com to help you make the smart choice on your next car. Now, the first thing you notice with this 5th generation Prius is the height. Look at how low it is. It almost sits like some kind of GT car. Now, don't hold me to that. Now, it looks as angular as before. The previous generation Prius was also pretty angular, but things get sharper, more handsome. Check out these C-shaped daytime running lights as well as your full LED. You get a wide dome up here. This is almost looking aggressive, even if it's a 1.8 hybrid car. Now down here, you do get your safety bumps along the front and a little black plastic lid. And I like particularly how they've made the styling around here, so it really does stand out, especially on the roads. Now, it is actually fully on because it's hybrid, it's running on its battery, and it's just totally silent. Now, let's check out the sides. Now, over by the side, you get 17-inch rims. These are rims specific from Venture Cars. If you move down here, you get a gloss black side mirror with indicator, and then down here, you get keyless entry, lock and unlock, and it actually plays a pleasant chime as opposed to the usual beep. And if you check out the silhouette of the car, you will notice a very, very smooth slope all the way from the rear all the way to the front. Now for the rear doors, it's actually a button actuated switch. So you just push the switch. Well, first you have to unlock the car, and then you just push on the switch so it doesn't open up as a handle by itself. So it's really nicely sleek. Now onto the rear. Now over by the rear, the Toyota Prius takes on a brand new look. You still get that glass right here, but it is at a lower angle, and this viewing, almost like a viewing window, looks really nice, especially with all the different colors right here. I think white is the best color for this. It really gives it a nice contrast against the black and the red. You do have a bar here, but in this trim, it doesn't have a light, unfortunately. Now open up the manual tailgate. You're gonna get 422 liters worth of boot space. If you compare that to the Mazda 3 hatch, it is 295 liters worth of boot space. If you compare it to the Mazda 3 sedan, it is 444 liters worth of boot space. So it is actually quite sizable. Now will it pass the anti-trolley length test? Unfortunately, not by quite a long shot. However, the lift-back rear does give you a larger aperture, so throwing things in is gonna be relatively easy. You do get hooks here. I believe they are for the tonneau cover, and there's also a power plug back here, but this is in the Japanese configuration. If you want to, you can lean out a little bit and then knock down the rear seats from here. If not, then let's check out the rear. Now over in the rear of the Toyota Prius, I am 1.75 meters tall. You can tell because of the sloping roofline, it's not going to be a lot of head space. However, my leg space, this is the amount of knee room I am going to get. The interior is mostly hard plastics, but that's what you're going to get. You're not going to get a middle row aircon in terms of amenities, only dome lights up here, and then a little bit of a charging port, but it is also the Japanese configuration. Even though it has a slight transmission tunnel for a front-wheel drive, I'm actually quite seated quite comfortably. My legs are at a little bit of an angle, but it's honestly not that big a squeeze. Now, if there's nobody in the middle, there will be no armrest for you to pull down in this trim. So for the rear, this is pretty much it. Now, onto the front. Now over in the front of the Toyota Prius, this kind of feels like the new gen that Toyota is after, because you also do see this inside the Toyota BZ4X. Your screen is up here and you have a smaller steering wheel with your controls in here. It almost feels like the same as the Peugeot iCockpit, where you have a eye-level kind of instrument cluster and then a smaller steering wheel that is easier to handle. Now, everything else is going to be hard plastics, but you do have a nice display up front. this is an infotainment unit that is fitted by the parallel importer, so it might differ from your usual. Now down here, this is your box standard climate controls. I honestly am a fan of this. Like, I would take this over touchscreens anytime. Just a simple LCD display. I have an auto mode if I want, then your recirculation, fan speed and temperature. It just needs to be like this. That's all we're asking. You have manual vents right here, a power button that's familiar in the Toyota scene. And then down here in this particular trim, you have USB-C fast charging and a 12-volt port, but no wireless charging down here. You do have a hideaway space though, so you could throw your things on the inside and then also just cover it up if you need to. There are two cup holders down here, a very nice Lexus-ish gear shift right here. And then for all your other needs, you have drive modes, EV mode, because it is a Toyota hybrid, it's gonna do well. We just drove up this multi-story car park, like 6 floors, full EV mode because that's just the power that it can give. And then you have your brake auto hold as well as an electronic parking brake. And then a cubby space down here with 2 more USB-C ports. Now, everything in here looks pleasant, it's nice that you have a little bit of silver plastic trim here. Your glove box opens up decently. Now over on the top, you do have a plastic trim, though it's touch sensitive plastic buttons for your light, which I find quite interesting, touch sensitive, even though it's plastic. And then a standard rear view mirror. Now interestingly, the front does seem to stretch on quite a bit, it is quite deep. And because of that sloping, again, your windscreen is actually quite a big piece and quite actually stretches quite far ahead in front. Now, does this thing drive as well as it looks? One way to find out. So driving the new Toyota Prius, what does it feel like? Well, it is powered by a 1.8 litre naturally aspirated engine paired with, of course, a Toyota hybrid system. So it's effortless, or rather at the low end, it's a lot of assistance from the hybrid system, and you can see with its big power charge eco meter, and the power comes on tap. There is a little bit of a growl when you give it the beans, but for a 1.8, it does feel slightly, it leaves you wanting. 1.8, it kind of feels like you do want more, because comparatively to the Corolla Cross with the 2.0 naturally aspirated hybrid, that felt a lot kickier. Not to say that this is sluggish, but you just want a little bit more. Now, it does top off at 134 brake horsepower, but it does feel faster than that with the hybrid assistance. Now, it does come with 3 different drive modes, so you can select power, eco, or regular, which I believe helps you to regulate how much of the pedal, the throttle is being used when you are driving. Now, it is a Toyota hybrid system. Because this car hasn't been run in yet, it's only at 300 kilometers. I can't give you a very verifiable number on its fuel consumption, but being a Toyota hybrid, I can assure you that it's probably going to give you somewhere in the mid-20s without even trying. That's, in our experience, all the Toyota hybrid systems. Now, this is a little bit newer. Things feel a little bit modern, like the BZ4X feel on your steering wheel, which I believe, if you don't want it to block the instrument cluster, you have to adjust your driving pattern a little bit and have your steering wheel a little bit lower. And it's a nice little display. You can look at the numbers without having to look down because it is at eye level. So everything does feel quite nice. And it is a little bit lower than the previous Prius. So it does feel a little bit closer to the road. And it actually does give you that vibe, because when you're closer to the road, you actually feel like it's a bit faster, because relative to your position, you see things moving by faster. And I kind of feel like that's what is bringing this Prius to the next level. Like, if I had a Prius like this, even though it's like, yeah, the Prius is the car for economical driving, it's like saving the environment, but I feel like I want to zeng this out, you know, you want to slam it down, give it a wide body kit, and then it just looks like some kind of Sirocco. But yet, it's a 1.8 hybrid and you're getting like amazing fuel numbers. Now, of course, if you do that, it's not much point of putting a nice exhaust to it, because half the time the engine won't even be on. But that's what I feel about this Prius. It does handle around the corner pretty nicely. It feels a little bit light, to be honest. It's sprightly in its 1.8 form. And it does handle well. Your steering is really, really direct, which is It's soft, it's very light, yet very direct, which it's not a bad thing, it's a great thing, but it's just a little bit uncharacteristic of a Prius. Like, I didn't expect that to come from a Prius, but it's a very pleasant surprise. And you can just give it the beans a little, and that sportiness comes out. It's almost like it's egging you to go on a little bit further, yet in a very manageable, very healthy speed to go on about. Now, of course, if it is your day-to-day, for a family of 5, it's gonna be a little bit of a squeeze in the rear, but still, when you want, you do get to take it out for a little bit more fun. That kind of form factor of the car, it really does put a smile on your face. Now, for your noise vibration handling, it is rather quiet. Some noise does permeate into the cabin, but I think it's at a very acceptable level, especially considering its segment. I think that this does well. It's quiet. It's another thing that the Prius does really well. It really reminds you that it's a good hybrid. It's just creeping along this low hum really reminds me, oh, I want to keep it in full EV mode because that's just how I get the best of my fuel. So having a car like this really brings your mindset into another place, and I feel better for it. So is this Toyota Prius a will buy, won't buy, or go try? I have to say that this car, for all how much I like it, it is going to have to be a go try. Because unfortunately, just for the fact that it is a 1.8 NA, because of the laws and the policies that we have to try to control our emissions, 1.8 skips a little bit that, so it's not Cat A. It's unfortunately Cat B, even though its power output is just a tinge over 130. Because of the engine size, that puts it into category B. But that being said, even in Cat B, it actually is quite a palatable price. Like, for the car that you're getting for this amount, it's actually quite understandable. But of course, there is going to be the consideration at the back of your head that if I'm paying for a Cat B car, do I really want to get something that's almost at the Cat A level? So that's why this Toyota Prius, for how much I like it, it's going to be a go try. That's it for our review of the Toyota Prius. Do you agree with us? Do you disagree? Let us know down in the comments below, as well as any other car that you'd like to see us try out. Do leave in the comments and we'll read every single one of these. Now, if you've made it this far, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to us, and hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any of our future uploads. That guy just turn on the go straight lane. And lastly, follow us on TikTok. We are at Sgcarmart. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one. Sorry, wait. Buy a bit, and then a car just drove in, so we're gonna have to retake that. Oh, they come here sightseeing.
So when should I show the whole thing?
I don't know, just vibes.
Okay.